Good evening. May I please have your attention? There are some seats up front. If you're looking to find a seat, we are going to get started. So I'd ask that everybody please settle down. Thank you. There are some seats in the front. And for those gentlemen that would like to let one of the ladies sit, that would be very nice. Thank you. Okay, can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Camille, will you please call the roll?
Present. Present.
Present.
Present.
Present. May I please ask if anyone would like to have a conversation that you please step out? We're going to begin the meeting. We have a full house, and we want to get through this agenda as quickly as possible. Thank you. The first presentation that we're going to have is from the ECAP children. So can they come forward with their teacher? Thank you. Yes, right there.
Good evening, everyone. It is great honor to be here at a town hall meeting. I would like to start by thanking Mayor Andino for giving Books and Beyond After School program this opportunity to share and showcase their artwork. ECAP has been around for over 30 years, providing different services to the community of Brownsville, Eastchester, and Tuckahoe. One of the services is the after-school program, which is sponsored by the Community Fund. We partnered with Tuckahoe School District, the Junior League of Brownsville, and different college. One of our main focus is homework help, and then expose them to different hands-on activities. The capacity for our program is 30 students. Also in the summer, we have a summer camp that runs for 6 weeks starting July 8th through August 16th. Now I will present the student to explain how they created their facial project. Riley?
Create a Face, Books and Beyond After School Program ECAP. My name is Riley. The face were made using beads, buttons, and glue. Each student was able to create unique portraits that resemble themselves, friends, or family members. Now I would like to present two of the artists. The first one is Samantha.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming this evening to see some of the artwork produced by the ECAP students. The first exhibit to the public was last week, Thursday and Friday. My piece was made to resemble my friend Bella. We used different colored beads to make each face unique. I had so much fun working on this project. Now I am pleased to present my friend Camilla to talk about her piece.
I'm sorry, Anna, while the young ladies are talking, can you bring their pieces in so that people can see, please?
I am very happy to tell you about the face I created. It was so much fun to work on this project. As I was pasting the beads on the board, I had a smile on my face. As I was beginning to see the face of my doll coming to life in this artwork of art, I am so happy to be here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you so much. May I ask the girls to hold up the pictures the self portraits? Thank you. Let's give them a big round of applause. I guess they have their own professional photographer. Thank you, ladies, very much. And thank you to ECAP for all the work that you do. Thank you. Okay, and we do have a very fun presentation by East Sustainable Westchester. So may I ask the Executive Director, Noam Brosen, to come forward.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Fun presentation. I'm not sure that I can top the kids.
There are some seats up here for anyone who's looking.
They were a tough act to follow. And I do thank you, Mayor and trustees, for the opportunity to spend a few minutes with you. As some of you know, in my former life, I spent 28 years receiving presentations like this. It's unusual for me now to be giving the presentation. But one thing I learned is to respect the wishes of the meeting chair. And the mayor was very clear with me that I should not exceed 15 minutes in this presentation, so I'm going to do my very best to keep things brief. And if that means I rush over some aspects of the presentation that are of interest to you, by all means, during questions, I'm happy to get deeper into the weeds. And I'll begin by noting why this topic is so important. I think we all recognize that although climate change might once have seemed like a distant abstraction, it's very much here and now, impacting our communities in terms of flooding, impacting our communities in terms of respiratory ailments resulting from wildfires. We know that you can move on to keep going, keep going. Yeah. See, I'm moving along quickly. We know that climate change exacerbates existing inequalities. It hits those who are most vulnerable the hardest. And you may have heard that 2023 was the hottest summer in 100 years. Probably more important to keep in mind that in all likelihood, it is the coolest summer of the next 100 years. And therefore, it really has to be an all-hands-on-deck approach to meeting a challenge that is urgent. This is why Sustainable Westchester was
I'm sorry,
established.
Noam. Can I just interrupt you quickly? For people who just came in, there are some seats in the front so that you don't have to stand.
Come on through. Got it. So we were established by and for the municipalities of Westchester, essentially to function as a shared municipal service, providing programming, relationships, expertise that it would be difficult for municipalities to stand up on their own. And in that regard, our programming has been quite impactful. If you want to move forward, I'm not going to do a deep dive into all of them, but you can see we work in clean renewable energy, efficiency and decarbonization, opportunity and community, really in partnership with villages like Tuckahoe, and all of that is setting a foundation for future progress. And innovations and breakthroughs have been a hallmark of our work. A good example of that is what you see in the upper right. That is the first sunshine to fast charging EV system in the entire state of New York. It's at our Mount Kisco headquarters, something we'd love to replicate if there's interest here in Tuckahoe. So that brings us to the main topic of tonight's presentation, and that is our Westchester Power Program, which by most standards has been the most impactful of all of our programs, but also the most complex. So just to begin with sort of the basics of how it works, because I know some people are new to this and some people are steeped in it. Municipalities join together in order to aggregate their demand for electricity and enhance their bargaining power in the electric marketplace. Sustainable Westchester functions as your agent, your administrator, to structure an open bidding process and select the best bidder for electric supply. We then purchase renewable energy certificates on the New York State market so that the power we provide is clean and renewable. Once a contract is set, notification goes out to every ratepayer, advising them of the rates, giving them the option to opt out either before the contract commences or thereafter. And as I said a moment ago, consumers also always have the opportunity to leave the program whenever they like. So those are kind of the mechanics. But what are the goals and purposes of the program? Why was it established? So it's threefold. First, go ahead. Well, it's first to provide clean, renewable energy. It is second, to expand consumer choice. And it is third, to cap electricity costs. So to take those one by one. And it's by this standard, providing clean energy, that the program has been a remarkable success. In 2023 alone, Westchester Power was responsible for mitigating, as you can see, 368,000 metric tons of carbon. And I know that can sound like sort of an abstract number, so to put it in terms that are relatable, if we can go ahead, that is like taking, go ahead, 87,000 gas-powered cars off the road. Or another way to look at it is like planting more than 6 million trees. If you think about the social cost of carbon, which the state is now trying to emphasize, it is like averting nearly $50 million in annual costs. And maybe the best frame of reference is something that I think as municipal leaders you can understand. You're taking so many actions that are great for the environment. Swapping out LED lights. I know you're probably trying to green your municipal fleets. You're probably weatherizing public buildings. This single program is doing more to reduce greenhouse gas emissions than all of those other municipal actions combined. So you should be very proud of your participation in Westchester Power and what it's doing for our regional environment. In terms of expanding consumer choice, just to understand how this works, without a program like this, consumers have two options. One is to get the power from the utility, from Con Ed, which is fossil-fueled energy with a variable rate that changes month to month, or you can contract with a private energy service company, which some people like, but many other people find that to be a difficult process to navigate, often predatory practices with hidden fees or penalties. With CCA, you still have those same two options. You can get your power from the utility if you want. You can contract with a private ESCO if you want, but now you have a third option. That's Westchester Power. It's renewable energy at a flat, fixed rate for the duration of the contract. And something that's notable is in both scenarios, there is an opt-out. That is your default energy supplier unless you choose to leave that opt-out. So again, more choices with this program than without. And finally, capping electricity costs. This is just another way to look at a fixed rate. We know that energy prices can spike during the length of this program. It's varied from 4 cents up to 22 cents. When you have a fixed rate, it shields the consumer against those price spikes. And for planning purposes, many people, as they look at their budgets, want to keep it within a certain predictable range. Next, please. So those are the big goals. There are also some additional benefits that are relevant to municipalities. Access to state grants are enhanced by your participation in CCA. You can see this is the Village of Tuckahoe's performance in the Clean Energy Communities program. If you were to re-up in this program, it would be worth 2,000 additional points through CEC, which would entitle you to a significant additional grant. We can get into that in more detail if you like. Next, our team provides customer support and education, including linkages to other programs that provide guaranteed savings on utility bills. And next, and the framework for community choice aggregation is a mechanism for doing other things in the future, including long-term power purchase agreements and opt-out community solar, which provides guaranteed discounts to low and moderate income residents. So if you can proceed. I want to emphasize this, even though I said it earlier. Consumers can always opt out of this program if they don't want to be a part of it. It is easy to do so by mail, online, email, phone calls. There's never any fee or penalty for doing so. You can come and go as often as you like. And I know sometimes people ask, why is this done as an opt-out program? Why not opt-in? So 2 reasons. One, it can only be accomplished on an opt-out basis from a practical perspective, because we can only entertain bids from suppliers if we can represent having a certain quantity of demand. Without an opt-out formula, you cannot do that. In fact, it's not even permissible under the regulations promulgated by Albany. Second, in terms of impact, if we're going to get anywhere close to New York State's and the nation's goals for clean energy, it's not going to be by signing people up for clean energy 10 or 20 at a time. It's going to be by achieving clean energy uptake in the thousands and the tens of thousands. And this is one of the few mechanisms by which you can do that. And finally, as I said before, there is always a default. There is always an energy supplier that you have to opt out of if you don't want it. And so for a municipality, the choice is not whether there's going to be an opt-out. The choice is what should that opt-out be. And so we think overall, this is a mechanism for empowering everyone. For consumers, for residents and businesses, they can consider what's important to them: price, predictability, environmental action, weight those factors however they want, and choose the energy supply that's best for them. For a municipality, the choice is somewhat different. You can decide what community-wide priorities and values you want to emphasize and encourage. And if those values include demonstrating leadership on energy choice, encouraging clean renewable power, providing consumer protections, then Westchester Power has been a great model. Next. And you can see these are the communities that are presently part of the program, 29 in all. Next. So the old contract, the one we're in right now, I want to acknowledge forthrightly, and you know this already, hasn't been great. The price of the current contract has been persistently higher than the utility rate. No one's happy about that, but there's a reason for it. It was concluded in 2022, just as the war in Ukraine was breaking out. At the time, energy prices were high and were projected to go higher. Instead, contrary to those forecasts, energy prices ended up declining. And so the fixed rate in our contract ended up being persistently higher, as I said, than the utility rate. Again, not a circumstance we like. But if you put the program in a longer-term historical perspective, you will see that the years in which we've exceeded the utility rate and the years in which we've fallen below the utility rate have been roughly equal. So from that longer-term perspective, we've been competitive. And if you compare our renewable energy to the renewable energy that's available on the private market from ESCOs, then even in this last contract, Westchester Power has come in consistently at the low end. And so for anyone who wants renewable power, it's been a very good deal. Next, please. As we enter 2024, things look better. The indicatives we have today, and I want to emphasize it's just today, it's not a guarantee of tomorrow, but the indicatives we have today indicate that we'll come in with a lower price than we did back in 2022. And that is an incentive to move quickly because we don't want to give the summer months an opportunity to have that price spike. There are probably advantages to a fixed rate as we head into 2025. The state is anticipating that some of the dirtiest polluters in terms of power generation will be coming offline, but the new renewable will not necessarily be online. That's likely to pressure up utility prices in 2025, a good reason to lock in a rate now. And next, please. And this is important. I got to walk you through it, and I'm trying to be quick, as you can see. So there have been changes in the renewable energy market, which is divided into two categories. So Tier 2, you can think of as kind of a lighter shade of green. That is purchasing energy from legacy generators, mainly hydropower, sort of old power, and this is a way to maintain it. Tier 1, you can think of it as a deeper shade of green. This is sort of new generation, and it's primarily wind and solar. And right now, Tier 2 is under limited supply, whereas Tier 1 is available for programs like Westchester Power for the first time. So here's what we expect to happen. Under the old contract, there were two potential defaults. One is pure fossil fueled energy, which only two communities chose. The other is sort of medium green, which was 100% Tier 2. So we can no longer offer that standard product. It's not going to be available this year. And we can no longer offer, if you could go to the next one, we can no longer offer that medium green either because of the shortage in Tier 2 RECs. Here's what we propose to do instead. What we're calling sort of a light green option, which is 50% Tier 2 RECs. That's the most we're allowed to offer given the supply shortage. Or, to bring it back up to 100%, a blend of 50% Tier 1 and 50% Tier 2. What's notable about the last one, if you could proceed, is that it's our greenest offering yet in terms of its impact on the environment, but it's price dependent. As you'll see in the documentation that we provided to your team, we would only proceed in this direction if the price differential was a narrow one, which we think it will be based on indicatives today. So put it all together, what are the options for Tuckahoe? Option 1 is to leave the program entirely. That means you're out of Westchester Power, you don't renew the contract. The result of that is that your municipal default for people in Tuckahoe becomes the utility. It's back to fossil fuel energy, back to variable rates. Consumers will not have any additional choices within the Westchester Power program. Option 2 is to renew the contract, but do it at the light green level. That's the sort of 50% Tier 2 RECs that I mentioned earlier. Certainly still a good green product. It's less than the 100% you have right now, but probably also at a lower cost. And consumers would have the opportunity to opt up to 100% Tier 2 or to exit the program entirely. Option 3 is to set that 100% dark green default as your municipal choice. Again, consumers could opt down to light green or they could exit the program entirely. And I do want to point out again that that dark green option is price dependent. So in the event that you choose it, but the price comes in higher than we expected, then you'd go back to the light green. That's how it would unfold. And finally, just to complicate things further, but I got to lay it out for you, there are sort of two variants to option 3, if we could proceed. One is to make the decision immediately on a legislative basis. Another is to say we want to wait until we see what that Tier 1 pricing looks like, in which case you designate either your chief administrator or your chief elected official to make the choice for you. We can talk about that more offline if you want to sort of get into the weeds on it. This is the timeline that we are hoping to proceed with. It's a complicated dance of steps in order to make this happen before the end of the current contract and in order to take advantage of the Tier 1 optionality. I think rather than giving you a big rousing summation, I'm going to conclude right there and invite your questions. I hope this has been informative, and I hope I did as well as I could, making it through an awful lot of information quickly.
You did. Thank you. When you say by early June that we have to approve or sign the MOU, early or mid-June, what are the dates?
So there's no particular drop-dead date. That is our perfect world scenario. We recognize that here we are. It's already June 3rd. You're in all likelihood not prepared to make a decision tonight, which I respect, having been in your shoes. Our concern is if we wait too long, there's a chance that prices will edge up as we enter into the summer months. And then past a certain point, it's literally impossible to make everything line up before the contract expires. So our hope is that you will simply act as quickly as you can as a practical measure. I know you're not meeting again in a regularly scheduled session until July. If it turns out that you feel like you're ready to act before then and it's possible to call a special meeting, we would respectfully ask that you at least consider that. But I also recognize you have to do your due diligence, and we don't want you to feel as though you're being rushed into an action before every question you have has been answered, before you feel like you've had a chance to fully digest what your options are and honor your responsibility to the people that you represent.
Okay, thank you so much. Does anyone on the board have questions?
I have a question, if that's okay.
Uh-huh.
So you talked about the indirect costs of fossil fuel energy, and I don't know if you have any kind of numbers or perspective. If those indirect costs were factored into the direct costs, would the green energy actually prove to be less expensive than the fossil fuel? Because I feel like folks don't factor the total cost of burning petroleum products for energy.
It's a great question and a good framing of the issue. And I wish I could give you a simple answer. But the reason it's complicated is this whole methodology of estimating the social cost of carbon is a little bit of a moving target. And it depends what kind of discount rate you assume for future expenses. In the figures we provided there, we use kind of the middle of the middle in terms of what DEC has generated for the state. And by that standard, yes, the answer to your question is yes, that the cost of the fossil fueled energy exceeds the cost of the renewable energy in terms of the long-term impact to our society.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, well, thank you so much. You have one more?
Let me just say, I and the rest of our team will be available to you and your team for one-on-one conversations, small group conversations, consultation with your professional staff, whatever we can do to put you in the best possible position to make an informed judgment. That's our job, and it'll be our pleasure to do so.
Okay. Just a quick question. Do you have any other municipalities that have come back on?
Not yet, because we just started.
Okay.
This is our fourth meeting.
Okay, got it,
so
got
we're
it.
just rolling in the process.
All right.
We've certainly gotten indications that several will. Some have questions, so we'll see how it unfolds.
All right, thanks so much.
All right, thank
We
you very, very
appreciate
much.
it.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. So we do have a public hearing that's already open to consider proposed modifications to the village code related to short-term rentals. This will remain open. If anyone would like to weigh in on this issue, you may do so now. We will keep it open as we're watching legislation as it unfolds before we make some decisions. Anything new with that, Gary or David, that we should update people on? Okay. And so the next thing is to adopt, I need a motion to approve the minutes of the May 6th meeting. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? And that'll bring us to the first opportunity to address the board on any agenda items. If there's anyone who would like to address the board on any agenda items, you may raise your hand and I will have you come forward. Yes.
Heather Rinaldi, I live on Terrace Place. Just following up on the Westchester Power thing, I think there are a few good questions that we should ask. What happened in 2022 was definitely concerning. The second the power markets got tight, they fell apart for 9 months and couldn't do anything. So, I'm curious how they actually approach contracting. They say, they're talking to potential bidders. Who is bidding? Are they going out to specific generators and trying to get attributes from that plant? Or are they just going to the secondary rec market and then we're going to be along for the ride in the tier 1 rec market? It's all fun and games when hydro is coming down from Quebec. It's not really electrically sited very close to us, but we can pay a little money and call it ours. Wind and solar is taking longer to come online. It's more expensive. It would be good to see what this market looks like right now. What our tier 1 recs look like? Where are we procuring them from? And how much runway do we have? Because 2022 wasn't an anomaly. The power markets are getting more challenging across the board. So it's just something
Okay.
I think we need to think a little harder about.
Thank you. Anyone else have any agenda items that they'd like to address?
Scooter Scott, 10 Circle Road. Again, following up on Westchester Power. If we take a look at countries that have moved to exclusively green energy, and actually, let me back up. I would hope that in the investigation of cost to benefit ratios, that we would look at several things outside of what's just been presented, because if you look at Germany and the rest of Europe, actually those countries that have exclusively green power have the highest energy costs. They're actually tearing down parts of the Black Forest in Germany right now because of the unpredictability of green energy.
Can we please not speak out? We can mute everyone on Zoom, David. Thank you.
That's fine.
Sorry about
But
that.
if you do the research, you'll find that those countries that have transitioned do have very high energy costs. So we have reliability issues, and we also have the fact that while I appreciate the aggregation of communities and municipalities to enhance the bargaining power, we also have to look at the fact that this technology, in part, is still developing. And if we lay the foundation too quickly on unfully realized, unfully developed technology, we put ourselves in a position to drive up the cost of living by an over-reliance on that which is not prepared to sustain us. And the state of New York, in pursuing a green energy program, while cutting away and reducing the amount of nuclear and fossil fuels, puts us in that position. And in participating in this program, we then combine the efforts to reduce the amount of energy options, therefore driving up the cost.
Okay.
So as you look at this, do a deep dive. Look around the world, look globally, look at what's happened with Texas, look at states, look at California. Their energy costs are through the roof, and they have been doing just the same thing that Governor Hochul is doing. We need to look at that, and I'm just asking that you consider all of this.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes. I think there was someone on Zoom that wanted to weigh in. Yes, you may speak now.
You're talking to me?
Yes, please state your name and address.
I just wanted to make a comment on what this man just now said, because the problem in Germany and Austria is that they were so relying on the Russian oil that now they have a real problem getting off it, and that's what makes the utility so expensive. Has nothing to do with the green only, okay?
Okay, thank you. There was someone else that was up here and left. Okay, come on back.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Down here. Good evening, good night, all that. I just want to comment about a nasty rumor.
Wait a minute. So right now we're only responding to agenda items. Anything on the agenda?
I'll be back. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone that would like to weigh in on any agenda items still? Okay. So that will take us to resolution number 1. And I'd like to ask for a motion to consider the local historic landmark nomination for 1 Generoso Pope Place, formerly known as Village Hall.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, the second and third resolutions are related. So we'll start with the considering the appeals, which I will reframe so that you guys can answer in a way that we can understand it a little better. But I'm asking for a motion to uphold the Tuckahoe Historic Preservation's decision to deny the appropriateness decision for 230 White Plains Road, aka the Ward House, to deny the request to allow the appropriateness of the Ward House to be demolished. So I'm asking if the board will uphold the Tuckahoe Historic Preservation's decision by stating yes, you uphold the decision, by stating no, you don't. Does that make sense? Okay. So Camille will ask for a roll call for that. May I have a second?
Second.
Who made a motion?
I did.
Who second? Okay. Camille, a roll call, please.
Yes, I uphold the decision.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, in favor.
In favor. And the same for resolution number 3, considering the appeal of the certificate of hardship decision for 230 White Plains Road. I'm asking for a motion to uphold the Tuckahoe Historic Preservation's decision. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Yes, I uphold the decision.
Yes, in favor.
Yes.
Yes, in favor.
In favor. I will move on to resolution number 4, authorizing the proposal from Geraldine Zorn for the use of the Main Street Park for tennis court on Tuesdays from 6 to 9 p.m. until the end of September for the purpose of organizing open to all pickleball sessions. So we received an email from Geraldine Zorn. I don't know if she's here. Is Geraldine Zorn here? Okay, and she's a lover of pickleball and has a group of people that are interested in coming to our tennis court and converting it to pickleball court. And they will offer free pickleball sessions on Tuesdays from 6 to 9 until the end of September. May I have a motion to authorize this proposal?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you all. May I have a motion authorizing the use of the Main Street Park, the Main Street Tennis Court for use by the Tuckahoe High School's tennis team for 2 dates a week. Dates to be confirmed from 3:15 to 5, August 26th through October 11th.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? I'm really excited that we are getting a good use of our park. We have people using the basketball courts. We upgraded the tennis courts, and now they're getting a lot of use, and that's really great for the community. Resolution number 6, authorizing the mayor to execute an IMA with the town of Eastchester, the village of Bronxville, and Tuckahoe and Eastchester Union Free School Districts for street resurfacing. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. Resolution number 7, authorizing the mayor to execute an IMA with the town of Eastchester for sidewalk and curb replacement for 2024. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. And may I have a motion authorizing the execution of professional services contract with Colortone Audio Visual for upgrades to the Village Hall broadcast system. We are constantly hearing complaints from residents that they can't see the video, that the Zoom doesn't work. So we did get a we got a grant. Am I right, David? We didn't. I thought we did.
Yeah, I guess it's it is a grant.
Kind of a grant.
We signed the 2 cable franchise agreements with Verizon and Cablevision the last couple of years, and they provide public access grants So they actually, their cost is this whole entire thing, so it's around $82,000. So those grants do cover this whole thing.
Right. So may I have a motion for authorizing the execution of these services?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Did I get something? Okay.
I can. Just
Okay, sure.
did a wonderful job on this because I was part of the negotiations.
Can't hear. Can you speak into
I
the
was
mic?
part of the negotiations on that, and David did a great job getting that money up to where it is.
Right.
He needs some credit for that.
Thanks, David. Resolution number 9, authorizing an IMA with Westchester County for a youth development program for $5,000 to support our DARE program. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. And may I have a motion authorizing an IMA with Westchester County for tracks use and dissemination agreement? David, can you speak about this a little bit so people know what that's about?
Yeah, but I think maybe when the chief comes up, he can probably give a better understanding of the exact kind of, it's just a data collection system from New York State that's shared with Westchester County, license plate, any other data that, you know, police organizations need.
All right, so, and the chief will give an update. And then I'd like a motion authorizing the approval of the vouchers to pay the bills. We didn't vote? Oh, did I get a motion? May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, and resolution number 11, authorizing the approval of vouchers in the amount of $939,786.52. May I have a motion to pay the bills?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, and that'll take us to departmental reports. So may I have the chief of police? Is he here? I saw him somewhere. Yeah. Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, I just want to go over the tracks agreement that the village signed. So that's a free service that we go into contract with Westchester County and New York State Police, and it's ticket writing software. So it basically streamlines the writing of tickets. So every so often we just have to update the agreement. So we've always had it. It's just a matter of some new technology. So that's regarding that. This past Saturday we hosted our annual bicycle event. It was a great day. Officers had bike training courses, bicycle repair, barbecue, and they raffled off approximately 10 bikes. So it was one of the first ones I missed, and I look forward to the next year. Earlier in the week, Tuckahoe PD officers, I just know you heard about the grant funding. We had our DARE barbecue, which is our finale to the DARE school year. So Evan Piazza was on hand with the 5th and 8th grade, along with many officers. I'm sorry, 5th and 7th grade. We had the barbecue, the kids swam, and it's a great day. They look forward to it for the end of the year. It just culminates everything that they've learned through the officer and the participation there. So it's a great thing. With the summer weather upon us, our bicycle unit's been activated. So you're going to see our officers out and about, pedaling around, patrolling the village, and interacting with residents, which is key. For the month of May, the Tuckahoe Police Department participated in the Governor's Traffic Safety Initiative. It's funded by New York State to enforce traffic violations, specifically ones that cause accidents, and also Buckle Up New York for seatbelt enforcement. So this is grant funded, and we go out there, we try to let the drivers know what they're doing wrong, and if we see something improper, we will issue a ticket. So we issued many tickets this month, and the point of the summonses are to get more people more aware to reduce accidents. Coming up at the end of this month, we're going to have Calling with the Cop, the annual Calling with the Cop. So we're looking forward to that. We're just finalizing the date, so look forward to that. Probably next week we'll have it on social media, and we'll put out some flyers for everybody. Crime tip of the month. So, you ready? All right. When using your debit card at an ATM or gas station, make sure you cover your PIN. There's some new technology with credit card skimmers now. With the cameras, they're even better. So they're stealing your technology, your card information, and most importantly, your PIN. So when you're at a machine, always make sure to cover your PIN and know your surroundings, people behind you. Also try not to let anyone in the vestibule of the bank, and know your surroundings if you're walking out to your car, especially late at night. I just wanted one other topic that came up regarding the use of a village vehicle car for a government trip to New York State for a meeting between the village administrators and mayors and supervisors throughout the state. It was falsely reported that a police vehicle was taken out of service, and it was not. This is something that we do every year. We offer a police vehicle, which is not a marked vehicle. It doesn't have emergency equipment in it. And for the trip that the mayor went on with the village administrator, it was the second oldest vehicle in our fleet. And the vehicle that we took away from the officers was replaced with a newer vehicle. So it was never a vehicle that was taken out of service, and the residents were not affected by it. So I just wanted to clear that up because it was some misinformation that was put out to the press, and it was false. There was never a police vehicle taken out of service, and the residents were not affected. Again, this was something that we do every year for whichever administration's part of this in the state training, and many officials actually have their own cars that they take home. So this is something that's been the past practice for about 15 years. So I want to just clear that up, and I hope everyone understands. Any questions?
Any board questions? Okay. Is there anything else?
That's
Okay,
all.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Frank's not here. May I have the library report? I don't know if Swadish or, Swadish is here. Swadish Pashnanda, Director of the Library. Thank you, Swadish.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
As you know, summer is approaching, so the library is very busy. We have a special summer reading program. The children's favorite Bubble Bus will be here on Monday, June 17 at 4 p.m. And this is the kickoff for summer reading. And the Bubble Bus is always very, everybody loves the Bubble Bus because it's the music, dancing, and all things, and a lot of fun games and program and treats will be available. And then we have Stuffed Animals Summer Camp Sleepover for children, Wednesday, June 26 at 3:30, ages 4 and 10. And we have for teenager special summer reading program, Use Your Own Adventure, and there will be pizza party, which is on Wednesday, June 26 at 6 p.m. And for adult summer reading, we have kickoff with the Cooking with Mayor and Dino, Thursday, June 13 at 4 p.m. So these are some of the special summer program, and we have our regular in-person yoga, meditation, art classes, ESL classes, which are very popular. And we have children's summer story time in the park, which is every Tuesday. And if you need more information, please give us a call. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have anything, Camille?
Yes, I do.
Fun times. Can we give Camille a mic, please? Can we give her one now, please? Thank you. Camille, we're not leaving you behind.
It's going to be very short because it's bad news. The first half tax bills are mailed, and if you did not receive one, please let me know. If you received one and you usually don't, and your bank pays it for you through escrow, duplicates were mailed. Don't worry about it. The bank is still going to pay for it. And good news is the online tax payments will be up and running by the end of this week.
Thank you. Gary, do you have anything? Nothing. David?
I don't have anything specific, but the trolley is going to start this week, so I know everyone was looking forward to that. And then with the online tax payments, it is this close. We are doing some serious kind of good QA on it, and Camille and myself this morning, ensuring and putting people's bills in there to make sure it's 100% perfect. So it is close. It's ready for prime time by the end of the week.
Great. Thank you. Okay, and that will take us to actually village business. So on July 15th is our next village board meeting at 7 p.m. And thank you to Deputy Mayor Cronin. We will resume movie nights at the park on June 28th, July 19th, and August 16th. She will give you more information about that, but I do want to thank Elcon on Marbledale Road for sponsoring the ice cream trucks that were a big hit last year. they will be doing that again. So thank you to Russell from Elcon for doing that again this year. And that'll take us to Board of Trustee reports. Trustee Lang, you're up first.
Great, thank you. Okay, first we have beautification. All of the geraniums have been planted. All of the hanging baskets are up. The baskets on the bridge are also up, and they look great. There's been a lot of positive feedback, so we thank the members of beautification for all their hard work. Thank you very much. The community center. On June 23rd, the Pride event will be from 2 to 6 p.m. There will be music, entertainment, and vendors for all to enjoy. Also, in June, on 6/25, will be the primary for the New York State primary. Everybody should get out for that. Also, the TYA is having a fundraiser on Friday, June 7th at Mickey Spillane's from 7 to 10. You can go to tyabaseball.com for tickets. The farmers market is back in town on Sundays. This Sunday was the first week. They have beautiful flowers and all kinds of wonderful things there to get, if you'd like. My June stipend I will be giving to the Tuckahoe History Committee, and I thank them for all of their hard work. Thank you guys very much. And lastly, last month, a resident accused me of unethical behavior and called for an ethics investigation. I requested the village attorney to write an opinion, and I was confident that I had done nothing wrong. I have his opinion confirming that I did nothing wrong, and I will be submitting a copy of it to the clerk, included to be in the official minutes of this meeting. I wonder if the same resident will call for an investigation into our mayor. Thank you very much.
Please do not speak out. Okay, I'm going to ask everyone to contain yourselves. May I have Trustee Gaccion's report,
Thank
please?
you, Madam Mayor. We will start with the History Committee. Thank you, Ms. Elaine, for sending the report along. Upcoming presentations, the Hodgman Rubber Factory and the Tuckahoe Post Office. Committee work, they wanted to thank Chief Rhoda for sharing archival images and awards from the police department. And they've been documenting a lot of veterans, especially veterans that were KIA, given Memorial Day being last month. And they also have an intern, Hannah Korn from Tuckahoe High School, who is helping out with the digitization of their website. Their Facebook posts this month reached 2,500 folks, and their most prominent post was, "Why is Tuckahoe history important to you?" The History Committee meets every Wednesday, Village Hall, 9:30 to 12. Be there or be square. Lots of good stories you can get when you come in from them. And we'll move on to veterans. We concluded a very busy month in May. I want to thank Tuckahoe and Bronxville schools specifically for their Memorial Day ceremonies. They're both very different ceremonies, but very good and very meaningful. They were really nice. If you missed out on the events of last month, Flag Day is June 14th, and there'll be a flag retirement ceremony at the American Legion Post, 979 on 40 Bell Road at 5 p.m. All are welcome. And I think that's it.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay. Trustee Engelbert?
Awesome. Okay. So what have I got for you all? Kind of this month. As much as I love the bubble bus, and who doesn't love a bubble bus, summer reading. I do ask kind of everyone kind of in this room to consider kind of carving out a book. I'm sure Miss Elaine or Swati should be happy to make a recommendation, but there are lots of studies kind of out there that suggest reading fiction actually improves your empathy kind of to others. And I think in our world today, each and every one of us could do with a healthy dose of kind of additional empathy for others. And so why don't we start that in our library this summer with a commitment to a bit more summer reading than we've done in the past. I would call for show of hands on who's going to read, but I won't name and shame, even though I'd love to do that. I'm holding myself back. Yay, let's put up the hands. Yes, I'm going to read this summer. Awesome. Now, the library does need our help. If you haven't seen the social posts, On June 12th from 6 to 9 p.m., there will be a fundraiser for our library at Angelina's. Who doesn't love Angelina's? Oh my gosh, the new menu there, fabulous. I'd also like to thank Sarah DeRice and the Icon Foundation, as well as the Friends of the Public Library for putting this together. It's going to be super fun. What else are you doing on the 12th? 6 to 9. Super fun food and fun people. Now, my librarian staff, I am despondent over the lack of ukuleles at this meeting. I think I can probably pull out one of my own practice charts. When I was playing my little viola as a small person, I'm happy to put out the practice charts for the kids to kind of amp up their ukulele skills. Next month, ukuleles, please. Okay. Thank you. All right, so task, things are moving at a pace on the public garden. Christopher Sprinkle, amazing. I absolutely love that. If you want to get involved or know more about this, please do contact Harmeet Gowindi, the chair of the TESS committee. His contact information is available from the village website. Eastchester Public Schools. If you don't know Madeline LeBeau, she is what I would consider kind of the Taylor Swift of middle school principals. In the past 4 weeks, she took an entire class of 7th graders to Boston, an entire class of 8th graders to Washington, D.C., and was calm, cool, and collected. I think I would have a meltdown if I did anything like that. But the care she takes of our students in our community at such a tender and important and impactful age is really, really a treasure kind of in our community. And we do need to treasure our educators and teachers in this time when they're under kind of such kind of attack from all corners. And Madeline LeBeau is really kind of, she is my Taylor. She is my Taylor Swift kind of out in the world. On this Friday, from 7 to 9 in the Eastchester High School auditorium, there will be a presentation called While the Earth Sleeps, We Travel, in celebration of World Refugee Month. Not that this is not fiction, but I think kind of understanding the perspectives of others and of refugees also kind of expands our perspective and our empathy. And certainly it's free and open to the public. Please come on down. Now, my presentation this week was a little bit less kind of, I think, joyful and silly and irreverent. But I am right now kind of struggling with the anger and outrage politics and kind of unkindness and unwillingness to kind of really search kind of for the truth with an open mind. It is part of kind of why I chose not to run for re-election because of this outrage. I mean, Daryl Taylor is certainly will be a wonderful candidate in so many ways. But I do ask our community to think hard about what is in the best interests of the community as opposed to what's in the best interests of individuals and their agenda. Thank you.
Please do not speak out. Thank you. Deputy Mayor.
Hello, everybody. I hope everyone's doing well. From the Tuckahoe seniors, the seniors are doing their trip to Wind Creek tomorrow. This is their much-awaited bus trip to Wind Creek, so they will be closed. June 6th, there's a meeting to vote on the proposed Tuckahoe Senior Executive Board, so if you're a member and you'd like to come, that would be great. Just know that the 25th is primary day, and the center is closed to be used for voting. And a reminder to everybody that June 25th is primary day here in the state of New York, and you should go out and make your voices heard. There are races for our congressperson, for Attorney General here in Westchester County, and some other local races. So not local races. So please go out and make your voice heard. That's June 25th, and there's early voting, which I believe starts the week before. I said last month that I would let you know about one senior program that's available to seniors every month. I'd like to talk a little bit about Ride Connect. Ride Connect is a program where you can call and make an appointment and be taken to medical appointments or run errands. They'll come and pick you up. This is a volunteer-based program, and they're actually looking for volunteers. So if you're 21 and over and you have a license and it's clean, and you'd like to give some of your time to help our seniors, it is a really important program because it's very difficult for seniors especially in some of the northern suburban communities to get around, especially to go east and west. We have a lot of north-south transportation. So if you would like to help a senior get to their hairdresser appointment or to their doctor's appointment or to see family or to run errands or do grocery shopping, this is a great way. You can call me and I will help you connect, but you can just go on Ride Connect at the Westchester Senior Services. Okay, so as for movies in the park, I know that the first one, we're planning on doing Wonka. We're thinking the second one is going to be Migration. I don't know about the third. I'm actually open to suggestions. This is a community event. I'd love to hear from the community if there is a movie. And I'd love to hear from your children. So if there is a movie that we're feeling like we really want to see, I'd love to hear about it, and just let me know. You can send me an email or contact me via social media, and everybody has my phone number anyway. Go ahead and send me a text. The deputy clerk has asked me to elaborate on the trolley service. Trolley starts June 7th and is on Fridays only, and it's the same schedule as last year. And that schedule is available online, and of course the trolley is free. So, you should take advantage of that if you can. It's a nice thing to do on a Friday in the summer if you have the time available to you. The Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for this month is canceled, as is the Planning Board meeting. It is also canceled.
Trustee Cronin?
Yeah.
Planning is on this month.
Oh, it did not say that on the website.
Yeah, so we'll have to change that. But the work session's tomorrow night.
Okay.
And then the meeting's in a couple weeks from that.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, so the meeting is tomorrow night. The work session's tomorrow.
The work session's tomorrow.
Okay, I stand corrected. I just wanted to make a comment or some comments about something that I saw at the Eastchester Town Board meeting on May 7th. Somebody who had been here went and commented there about our master plan. That person is here. I like to talk about people in front of them so that they don't think I'm talking behind their backs. I watched some of the meeting, and I was a little surprised when I heard somebody who does not live here in Tuckahoe say they talked about the master plan. Some of the supporters of the change in the master plan wanted to see low-income housing, but this is simply not true. At no point were the words low-income housing actually uttered during that last meeting. Mr. Burke, in talking about the New York State budget, said that the New York State had moved to a pro-housing stance. And another resident who is currently a renter in the village talked about Senator Shelley Mayer's email, re the New York State budget. And this resident did mention that they spoke about achieving affordable housing and that she looked forward to giving her input on the comprehensive plan. That was it. There was no mention of low-income housing at all. And I have to wonder why somebody would suggest that if that's not true. Mr. Foyce, you said, we need to do something about this. They mean business. They mean to change things. There was a tone toward, and I quote, there was a tone toward the end that made me very nervous and very uncomfortable. And then another quote, there's definitely the intent in Tuckahoe to redesign the master plan to have low-income housing. Again, there was no conversation about low-income housing. And I want to remind everybody that low-income housing and affordable housing are two very different things. Affordable housing in New York applies to a lot of people, and affordable housing programs can be up to 120% of AMI, average monthly income. For a family of four, that's at $156,000 a year. That's most of us. Most of us here in this room, most of us here in the village, a lot of us are struggling. A lot of people are struggling to live affordably here in Westchester County at all. And I take umbrage with the idea that there is something wrong with the people who live here who are a little less fortunate than some of the rest of us. I think that Tuckahoe is unique and special, not in spite of the fact that we have low-income residents here, but because we have economic diversity. Economic diversity helps keep just like political diversity, philosophical diversity, ethnic diversity, cultural diversity, it helps keep a neighborhood and a community vibrant. And I refuse to not comment on the idea that this is something that we have to be uncomfortable about, that we need to do something about, and that it makes us very nervous. So while people have their freedom of speech, and I absolutely stand behind that, I think that when we speak, it should be honest, it should be clear. When we talk about affordable housing, we should talk about affordable housing because it affects all of us. And that when we talk about low-income housing, that we don't talk about it as if it is a pejorative, as if people who are less fortunate than others don't belong here or are less than human.
Okay, let's settle down.
Deputy Mayor, I absolutely agree with you, and I wait for the opportunity to be able to vote for more affordable housing options here in Tuckahoe. And supporting those who are less fortunate is a hill that I will join you on. So thank you for making those comments.
Thank you. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. So let's get to what you're all here for, because this building is never full unless there's a controversy in Tuckahoe. So we need a few more controversies to get you all out and get you engaged in your democracy. There was two articles actually written, which are not the first written about me, that were instigated likely by the usual opponents that I've had in Tuckahoe since 2018. And one of the assertions that were made was that I purchased a principal house in Briarcliff Manor. The article said Ossining, Briarcliff Manor, which is true. But I also want to give you some facts about the requirements for being mayor in Tuckahoe. So to be mayor in Tuckahoe, you have to be a U.S. citizen, which I am. You have to be 18 years old, which I'm just slightly older than. And you have to be a resident. And I am a resident of Tuckahoe. I live at the Gentry. I do not rent out my place. I live there. And I purchased a home in Briarcliff Manor in preparation for private life. I believe, as some might not believe, that public office should not be for eternity. And I think that that's part of the problem that we have in politics, that we have career politicians who stay in office for 30, 40, 50 years. And there should always be an opportunity for new and up-and-coming visionaries to contribute to their communities. And so I am preparing for that, in addition to the fact that I am taking care of an ill parent. So it is true that I did purchase a home in Briarcliff Manor, and I listed it as my principal house. I will tell you that that has not impacted my ability to serve you in Tuckahoe. I will put my record of service here since 2018 next to Trustee Lang's, Scooter Scott's, Sheila Marcotte's and company any day. I have worked to bring funding to Tuckahoe so that we can fix our infrastructure. I have worked very hard to make sure that our parks and our community center and our library are being all upgraded, and my intention was to serve in Tuckahoe and leave it in a better place than when I found it. And I hope that you, the people of Tuckahoe, agree with that and recognize that. I want to just sort of bring to your attention the kinds of attacks that have been directed toward me since day one. And I mean, when no one even knew me, when I didn't speak out about anything, when I just wanted to serve my community, and the first things that came out of people's mouths were, she's not from here. Well, I've been here since 2010, and I'm still not from here, for many. This yellow letter that Trustee Lang put out in 2018 was not was the first, but it certainly was not the last. And the attacks that have remained constant have been fatiguing, to say the least. For those who are asserting that you have to have a principal residence in Tuckahoe to serve, that's not the fact. The law says you have to be a resident, and I am a resident. And I am serving you, everyone in Tuckahoe, regardless of your race, your income status, your socioeconomic status, your sexual orientation, your religion, your political affiliation. I have served everyone in Tuckahoe. And that's what I will continue to do until I am no longer the mayor. So those are my statements about the first assertion. The second letter or the second article that was written talked about what our chief already addressed, that I personally, of course, took a detective vehicle out of commission, which is not the case. No, I did not leave the residence and the police department destitute with no vehicle to be used. I went to a New York conference of municipal officials and the mayors to continue to educate myself so that I can be a better mayor, so that I can learn all of the things that will make me more effective and efficient as your public servant. Something that I would recommend Trustee Lang do, who has not done that at all ever. I'm not asking you all for comments. I'm just making my statement, and I'm asking that you please remain silent. The other points that were made was that I used our village attorney for my closing. When I went out to look for an attorney, I asked 3 people, can they point me to an attorney, a real estate attorney that could help me with my closing? And all 3 people said, Gary Gertzen. I didn't know that that's who they would recommend. I later learned that Gary Gertzen has helped several other mayors prior to me. I did not ask him for a favor. I did not ask him for a discount, family discount, a mayor's discount. I asked for the service of his firm, and that's what I got. And that's provable. Anyone can see that that's okay to do. He actually helped several of the other mayors with some closings of their own. No one took issue with that, but they took issue with me using a very capable lawyer to help me with the closing of my house. And there was one other thing that came up, and it's escaping me right now. But I just wanted to sort of set the record straight for you all so that you understand what's happening in my life. I hope that you understand that I have not wavered in my commitment to you. That should be proven in my record. I've worked for everything that I have. Nothing has been given to me. I don't go around bragging about my fairy, auntie who gave me $700,000. I don't have any information about buying foreclosed homes in Tuckahoe that I could purchase. I know so many people here would love that. I've worked for everything that I have, even from the little that I came from, and I am not going to apologize for anything that I have purchased at any price that I can afford. So having said that, I will open up for the public to address the board, and I'm going to ask that you please be respectful, that you not address any one person on the board, that you not address the employees on the board, and that you keep your comments to 3 minutes. Camille will keep you honest to the 3 minutes so that we can move things along. And may I ask for you to raise your hand and be acknowledged to come forward before you do. Okay. John Smith. And I ask that you please give your name and number.
My name is John.
Your name and address.
Smith III. I live at 42 Washington Street, Tuckahoe, New York. I've been a resident of Tuckahoe for 72 years. I went to kindergarten right here. Okay? First, second grade in the Cottle School, 1963. This past Sunday, we were at church. Somewhere in there, Reverend Gerald said, we need to go support our mayor. I don't know what the heck was going on, but they attacked the wrong person. Okay, she's a good mayor, and all of this nonsense that I see, or this letter, that letter, if you don't have something good to talk about somebody, don't say it at all.
Yes, you can come up.
name is Marvin Graves. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Okay. Closer. I'm too short. Okay, my name is Marvin Graves. Since Mayor Adina has been elected, so many wonderful things have happened in Tuckahoe. The roads have been paved, the parks has been upgraded, the library is being remodeled. She gave Christmas and Easter baskets to families in the community, filled with apple pies and other goodies. She makes sure people have clothes, shoes, pampers, and hand wash. Every summer, there are movie nights in the park for children, and she makes sure there is ice cream and hot dogs for everyone who attends. Mayor Adina is always here for the people in Tuckahoe. I have lived in Tuckahoe for 35 years, and I have never seen a mayor who has worked harder for her community. Now she has bought a house in Barcliff to live in when she retires. Isn't she entitled to buy a house wherever she pleases? She won't be mayor here for her whole life. She still has a home in Tuckahoe. She pays her taxes in Tuckahoe. She goes to the gym 4 times per week. She visits senior citizens in their homes in Tuckahoe. She's always looking out for our community. Danny, you have been in office for many years. What have you done? What have the Republicans done for Tuckahoe? You can't even get a good morning or a hello from the Republicans, let alone pave roads or a movie night in the park. There is a vast difference in our community since Mayor Adina has taken office. In my 35 years living in Tuckahoe, I never seen the Republicans do anything for our village. Now there are so many improvements and activities thanks to Mayor Adina. Although she bought a house in Barcliffs, she lives in Tuckahoe too. And I know that she will continue to work hard for everyone in our community. Mr. Danny Lang, I'm aiming this question at you because the mayor bought a home in Barcliff.
Marvin, may I please ask you not to address any board members directly?
Because he came up to me with and showing me that you bought a home when I was in the street, and he was dogging you.
I understand.
So I will dog him also.
The 3 minutes are up. The 3 minutes are up. So can anyone else in the public please raise your hand, come forward?
Hi, Jeff Zuckerman. I live on 24 Bronx Street. I wasn't going to speak, but of course I'm going to speak. This is what I want to say. We have, I taught in Bronxville for many years. I told the reporter this, who's here. Who I like Dave McKay Wilson, but I think he did not do a very good job in his article. I don't think he researched this, and I want to set a couple of things straight. It's completely not unusual to have a house and buy another house. Completely not unusual. And to say it's a residence is such that you're going to get a lower mortgage rate, it's completely acceptable if the mortgage person knows it, the banker knows it. There's absolutely nothing wrong. Nobody's going to start a lawsuit over this. Nothing like that. And I taught in Bronxville for a lot of years. And we always had kids in Mount Vernon and Yonkers and everywhere that wanted to come to Bronxville schools for free. And they couldn't, of course, because they weren't residents. So sometimes their parents took apartments, very inexpensive apartments, the least expensive apartment they could find in Bronxville. And they wanted to have a residence there so their kids could actually use Bronxville schools. And the school district hired private investigators and followed the kids home, and they found that they didn't go to that apartment in Bronxville, that they went back to Mount Vernon and slept every night. And we had this rule, wherever you put your head down at night, that's where you are. You can't go to Bronxville schools if you put your head down on the pillow every night in Mount Vernon or Yonkers. That's not allowed. And I'm here to say that all the things that Marvin just said about the great things, that Elmira has done and continues to do and will continue to do. I say to any naysayers here, if you can show me the time where she's not doing those things, find me. Tell me, oh, she doesn't show up like she was yesterday at the police thing with the kids. Find me those events. Oh, she doesn't go to anything anymore. She's no longer involved, and we never see her. Then come and find me, and I will be on the other side of the room. And I will say, I guess I was wrong. I guess I was wrong. Whatever she did now, she's not really with us. But right now, she's the mayor. She's doing great things. And until somebody proves something different, this woman is innocent.
Carter.
Hello, board. Being a citizen of Tuckahoe, I've had the pleasure, and I'm not from New York, but I've been here 40 years. I've had the pleasure of knowing 5 mayors, knowing them. And out of all of them, Mayor Andino have helped me and my family the most. And I appreciate that. And I would just want to say thank you.
Thank you. Heather? Heather?
Yeah, so there's a lot of emotions here right now, and I just, the issue that I'm having is, why couldn't this come up in October? If it was really your intention that you were gonna do your term and then you had plans to move, I think if you would have said something, I know I wouldn't be angry right now. Where it gets upsetting is we are in the middle of a comprehensive plan process right now. That's something we get to do once every 10 to 15 years. It's a tremendously resource-intensive process, and it has major implications for this village. What I've seen so far of the comprehensive plan is we have 2 former trustees that we know were on your side of the aisle that got picked. I don't know that there's been any public meeting specifically about the comprehensive plan. Basically what you're saying is you're gonna stick around for a little while, create a big plan that some of us are gonna be stuck with for 15 years. I have young kids here. We're just getting started, you know, would have loved to be involved in that plan. I applied, didn't get an email back or anything. You're doing this now behind closed doors, and now it's coming out after the fact that you actually have an intention to leave the village. It just doesn't seem right.
So let me just speak to a few things that Heather has said. And so I appointed our deputy mayor, Kara Cronin, as the liaison to that committee. And there aren't just Democrats on that committee. There are Republicans as well on the committee that are serving.
Okay.
So it's not
Who
just
are
one
the
people.
Like, then who do? I mean,
So-
I'm not even talking about Democrat or Republican.
You brought it up. I
2
didn't.
former trustees on a committee that is supposed to be inclusive. It just doesn't look like you really stretched far and wide if it's 2 trustees that you were just sitting with.
Okay.
Okay, we're
Thank
going to
you.
be defensive about this.
No,
That's
no, no.
fine. I just
I
think
said okay.
comprehensive
Thank
plan
you.
needs to be really on the record.
Thank you. Hold on. Okay, lovely.
Good evening. I'm
Good
not
evening.
going to speak as long as I want to because people have said what they wanted to say. To me, the most elementary question here is, in the United States, are you not allowed to own a second residence? I don't understand why you can't buy, own, rent, lease another residence. Oh, the point is, are you registered to vote? Are you a legal resident in the place that you stay is your home? I've been in Omira's condo here in Tuckahoe, and I've seen the beautiful home that she's picked. What is the prohibition here? Suppose she bought the Empire State Building. It doesn't matter. If she lives in Tuckahoe and she has a residence registered in Tuckahoe, she's a legal voter here in Tuckahoe, and her performance in her job as mayor tell me that because she bought something up the road there, that she misses meetings. She's at every function that is representative in this village. She is there socially, politically, leadership. I think whoever brought this up is small and small-minded. It is the American way. You can have one home, you can have two homes, you can have 20 residences, you can have business. What is this foolishness here that you have to stay within the less than 1 mile square? Tuckahoe, this beautiful little village, she lives here. She has a condo here. I've been there. I'm old, but I'm not stupid. And I am really annoyed with the low-lifedness of bringing this up. You can own more than one property in the United States of America. Thank you.
Shannon? And then you here.
Hi, Shannon McDonough, 14 Westview. I just want to add clarification around the process that comprehensive plans entail. Every single resident in Tuckahoe is and will be invited to not one, but several sessions. Not only that, the firm will be going out to all community groups and doing outreach. Furthermore, the firm that was chosen in part because of their emphasis on community engagement. So under no circumstances will anything be done in a closed door fashion. That is not how this work gets done, here or anywhere.
Thank you. Just a reminder, 3 minutes, everyone.
Hello, everybody. My name is Samantha Christian, and I live at 72 Main Street. To kind of change the subject a little bit, we're having our Tuckahoe Juneteenth Festival on June 15th from noon to 5 p.m. at Main Street Park. A little bit about Juneteenth. A lot of people think it's just a black holiday. It's, Emancipation Day where slavery ended, but it's actually more than that. It's an American holiday. It wasn't just us who was enslaved. There were Irish people who were enslaved, Native Americans enslaved, Latin Americans enslaved, and a lot of Chinese Americans who would have been enslaved, who built our railroads if it wasn't for Juneteenth. So it is the ultimate freedom day for all of us, and that is why we have this. It's a national holiday now, and that is why we're having our festival here in Tuckahoe. So to support and celebrate all of our freedom from slavery. We have music, we have free food, and arts and crafts, poetry, and a lot of activities for adults and kids. So that is Tuckahoe Juneteenth on June 15th from noon to 5 p.m. at Main Street Park. And I have flyers for anybody who wants it. And also, in addition, there's Tuckahoe Pride. And speaking of freedom, I know people don't think Pride and Pride Month is freedom too, but actually it is. Pride celebrates the freedom to be yourself, freedom of expression, freedom to, no matter what your sex or identity is, you are free to dress how you want, say how you want, sing how you want, and express yourself how you want. And that is what the Tuckahoe Pride is celebrating on June 23rd in the community center. It will be at 2 p.m. We actually have a lot of music and bands and art and activities for kids and adults for Tuckahoe Pride too. It's our first year ever doing this, so help continue the freedom celebrations for Tuckahoe Pride on June 23rd at the Community Center from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Okay, thank you. Reverend Gerald had his hand up, and then Anthony Laurie, and then no.
Reverend Dr. Michael Gerald, 15 Marble Place, Tuckahoe, New York. That's Shiloh Baptist Church. That's where I live. I may go a little longer than 3 minutes because I'm a Black Baptist preacher.
I may ask you to stop at 3 minutes. Camille's in charge of time. Sorry.
So I want to just frame my remarks by beginning in the book that I most cherish. There was a wise judge who once sat in a hearing to arbitrate the rightful parentage of a baby. And the judge eloquently said, when the two women fought over this child, the judge said, cut the baby in half and give one half to one mother and one half to the other. And the woman whose child it was said, no, don't do that. Give her the baby. I lead my remarks with that story because what I've come to find out is the issue is never the issue. The issue is not whether or not Mayor Andino purchased a home in another part of New York. The issue is not whether or not she intends to remain here and serve out her term. The issue is one fundamental issue, and that issue is, how dare she do that? I've been pastoring in this village for 12 years, and this is the ugliest I've seen it in a long time. I wasn't here 70 years ago or 50 years ago, but this is an ugly time. And I don't imagine that when your forebears were here, living alongside of other people who were struggling to come up, that they would have behaved in this fashion. Something's terribly wrong in this town. And it didn't just start this year. It started in 2016. So I would say to all of us in the room that we need to have a check. We need to really check ourselves to see whether or not what we are advancing is making our community better. Mayor Andino, you know how I feel about you, your mayoralty, your leadership. Everything rises and falls on leadership, and you are the quintessential leader for this town and this time. So thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Anthony Laurie. I think I got a couple of more years on Mr. Smith. I've been in this community 75 years. I was born here. I wasn't born in Bronxville, Mount Vernon, or Yonkers. What I have to say, I took offensive to this lady where she said, Republicans don't do nothing, the Democrats don't do nothing. We had a Democrat mayor here, Mayor Gibbons, many years ago. He started PAL. We had Mayor D'Agostino here. He was a Republican. He stayed in office, I think, 10 years. We had Mayor Eklund. He was a Republican. Jerry, he was here too, okay? Do you know, I'll bring you down memory lane.
Greg Luisi.
I'm sorry, Greg. I'll bring you down memory lane. Many years ago, if a person was running for office, okay, if he was running for dog catcher, you could not put a political sign in front of your house. I had a political sign in front of my house one time when Mr. Pinto was running for a mayor. Michael Pinto, I think Mrs. Billups was working on that campaign very strong. And I was ordered to take that political sign down. And if we go back even further, when Mayor D'Agostino was running for mayor, one of his village trustees lived on the corner of Maynard and Columbus. His father owned a grocery store.
Mr. Cachola. He was our urban renewal director, and then he became our DPW director. And he got elected as a village trustee with Mayor DeAugustino. Believe it or not, if some of you people don't know it, he had to give up that seat before he took the seat, because years ago you had to be a property owner to have any political office up here. A lot of people don't know that. It just says, I'm here 10 years, I'm here 15 years. I could tell you a lot about history of Tuckahoe. That man had to resign the seat before he got the seat. And as time went by, they changed the law that you didn't have to own a property. As long as you were a resident of Tuckahoe, I forget for how many years or days, whatever. And then political signs came up. I had a political sign one time. The building inspector told me take it down. But I put it on my clothesline. And I told him I washed it. And I hung it out to dry. The next day he told me to take it down. I said the birds pooped on it and I had to wash it again. So there's ways around everything. So,
okay, thank you.
For those people who don't know what happened in the past, Mayor Gibbons was one of our finest mayors. He started the PAL in this town, okay? And he was one of our police officers. He was a sergeant in the police department, and he went all the way up. And one of our finest mayors was Mayor Gibbons.
Thank you, Mr. Laurie. And I'd just like to respond and echo Mr. Laurie's sentiments that I acknowledge that I stand on the shoulders of mayors who came before me. Nothing has happened, just started when I got here. I'm not delusional. So I am in agreement that there have been mayors that came before me who've done a lot of great things as well in Tuckahoe. Yes.
Back again. Good evening. This is my buddy here. Love him dearly. To the board. We have to stick to the business of Tuckahoe. The nitpicking and all that, it needs to stop. I work for corrections and we have trustees. That don't mean that we trust them. But as trustees on the board, we have to stick to the business at hand, the people's business. We get out there, we vote, and we want changes, and we see changes. And if you're not on the road to do changes for Tuckahoe, I will make sure that I knock on every door and get you off the board. Thank you. Stick to the business of Tuckahoe.
Okay, is there anyone that has not spoken, sir? And then you can go, young lady, and then Scooter. Okay, after here.
I live in Eastchester. I'm not here to talk about where you live. I was here a couple of years ago when I was very disappointed when the board decided to take down the veterans banners. So I'm asking you tonight, when are you going to put those banners back up, Mayor?
Okay, I will let Trustee Gaccione, who's in charge of this, speak to that.
Sure, I'm sorry, I don't know your name.
Mark Visconti.
Hi, Mark. You want to come up here and talk about banners, okay? I'll give you a hint as to where they are. So we've taken them all in, and like I've said, if you've watched the meetings or listened to anybody, that we are waiting for proofs to come back. I did not think that it would behoove the village to put up the old banners before we got the new banners in. However, over the last month, there were 15 events that you could have went to, or anybody else could have went to actually help veterans. You're up here talking about banners. Banners! You're not up here talking about the 22 veterans a day that are taking their lives. You're not up here talking about the veterans that are homeless. You're not up here talking about the mental health issues that veterans face. You're not up here talking about the families that lost veterans this month. You're up here talking about banners. Banners! If you want this flyer, I'll give it to you. Camille has one you can take right here. I've got a stack of them. I'll leave them at the village hall. Do some real work for veterans instead of coming up here and complaining about banners. The banners will get up when they come in. That's where the banners are, and that's when they'll go up.
And that's your answer.
Okay.
Do some work is my answer. Quote it. Do some real work.
First of all, they never should have been taken down, number one. When my family paid for the banner, it did not say anything about the discretion of the village board that they were going to come down or not. If I knew that, I never would have purchased it, okay? No one else has ever taken them down. You guys do. I feel strongly about this because my father, who was born and raised on Columbus Avenue in the house in 1925, was taken out of high school, okay, drafted, right out of Tuckahoe High School senior year, and served 2 years. Okay, I told the mayor this the last time I was here, so I take pride in
Okay.
it. I'm not a veteran. Okay? I don't understand why they came down.
So I'm going to address.
The last time.
I'll address that issue one last time. When the banners went up, it wasn't a veterans banners program. It was the Girl Scouts who had a Hometown Heroes program during COVID, and at that time, they were allowing people to nominate anyone, including veterans, first responders, even elected officials. A young person nominated me, and they sponsored these banners. It was designated for a specific period of time. It wasn't to keep them up forever. Then when we were bringing them down to make plans for what's the next project going to be, because this was, again, the Girl Scouts programs. This wasn't the Veterans Program. It wasn't the village sponsoring this. It was the Girl Scouts. It became so vitriolic and divisive in the village that we said, let's give it a year or so, whatever. Let's then go back and revisit that. At the point that they were down, Trustee Lang took the banners and asked Eastchester to put them up. Or I'm not sure if it was you, Trustee Lang, or if it was the veterans. I'm not sure. They went up there, and when I asked Trustee Gaccione, who came with a presentation with his the foundation, the Veterans Foundation, to say we want to put them back up. The Trustee Gaccione was put in charge of getting those banners and bringing them back to Tuckahoe and putting them up. They were prematurely brought down in Eastchester without any of our knowledge except for Trustee Lang. When they came back here, one of the complaints I heard was we don't have them all. Some of them are missing from the superintendent, our DPW superintendent. Trustee Gaccione did not want to not honor the veterans whose banners we couldn't find. And then there were some new people who wanted new banners. So because we couldn't get everything situated for Memorial Day, we've decided, Trustee Gaccione's suggestion, to have them go up on Veterans Day, and then they would come down for Memorial Day. So they are going to go up, and I'm with you. I'm not a veteran either. My father was. Trustee Gaccione is a veteran. So I yield to him to make these decisions. And I think what's happened, and I don't fault you for coming here because it's your father, and I get that, I understand that. I think it's just been so politicized that it's become no. I'm just giving you the full landscape. It's become so politicized that now people are coming forward and they're so outraged about the banners, and this is why you see the passion coming from Trustee Gaccione. So please forgive him for that. He's very upset about it because he wants veterans to be helped, and all he keeps hearing about are banners going up. And none of the people who are coming up, and I'm not talking about you, are doing anything to help them, but they just keep coming forward complaining about banners. So
We filled out that application. That's my beef with this. It was never, only going to be for 6 months. If I knew that, I would have got one in Eastchester that have never come down.
Yeah.
The reason I got one in Tuckahoe is because that's where my father was
Yeah.
born. He wasn't born in Eastchester.
Right.
And if this gentleman here is a veteran and he's so angry about it, he should be more angry than I am. And he should have gotten him up to second. From what I understand, I was told they were brought to the village in February. Is that correct? You've had them since February?
That's correct.
they were brought to the village in February, but we didn't have all of them. Some of them were missing.
They're still missing.
They're missing.
Inventoried.
How are they missing?
Nothing.
I don't.
Ask Trustee
So
Lang.
Trustee Lang took it upon himself to have them brought down from Eastchester before we had a plan to put them up here, because there were still people applying for new banners. So we were trying to give those people an opportunity, and Trustee Gaccione had to order the banners and get those new ones, but there are still some that are missing that we don't even know where they are.
How do I know if my father's is one of those that's missing?
Can you tell us his name and we can?
Edward Visconti.
Okay, we will look into that.
I'll get back to you and let you know.
Do you want to give us your phone number just so that Trustee Gaccione can reach you? Can you give that to Camille, please?
I'll see you when you meet.
Sure, thank you. Okay.
And if anybody wants to do real work for veterans, I've got this here. So
Okay. All right, Nancy.
You know, I know you would have wanted to see this crowd when you were doing the budget, right?
I would have.
You know, when we did the budget, it was just them and me. So, you know, I know you would have liked to see a lot.
I would have loved it.
My name is Nancy Norday. I live at the consulate. This was the letter that I wrote to the editor. David McKay Wilson's 5/28/24 article about Mayor Omira Endino's second property is, to quote William Shakespeare, much ado about nothing. Normally, I find Mr. Wilson's reporting informative and insightful because of its detailed research. Had he called more people than politicians with an axe to grind, he would have found proof that Mayor Andino lives in Tuckahoe. He would have been told that we often see her grabbing a slice from a local pizzeria, having meals at local restaurants, and working out at the gym. I wager she knows more about Tuckahoe than residents who commute and use the village as a bedroom community. Wilson's article has caused me great sadness because it underscores that a dedicated public servant who has done so much for Tuckahoe is making plans to no longer be mayor and will eventually move away. When that day arrives, Tuckahoe will lose an outstanding public servant and a wonderful neighbor. The mayor's accomplishments are many and include improving the village's bond rating from AA to AA+, paving 30% of the roads, and securing $3 million in grants to invest in Tuckahoe. This article helped me understand why people choose not to run for office. What person wants to be subjected to articles written under the guise of informing the public, but instead helps reporters increase their social media following, misinforms the public, churns up distrust, and provides a platform for those seeking to undermine candidates and elected officials from the opposite political party? Thank you very much.
Scooter? Can I ask if you're going to have a conversation in the room, if you take it outside, please?
Scooter Scott, 10 Circle Road. And first of all, I feel for you. You certainly have the right to buy a house anywhere you choose, of any size. The law is very clear about that. But that's not, and to echo, excuse me, echo Reverend Gerald, the issue is not the issue. That's not the issue as I see it, or as I took it as I read the article. It has to do with three things as I see it. Your rights, you have that right. We've established that. Then there's obligation, and I think Heather spoke to that very nicely. You were elected 3 times before I ran against you last October. And I found it somewhat, and this is what I spoke to when I was quoted, disconcerting, disappointing that after having built that kind of following, you didn't have enough trust in the people of the village to put it out there. We were engaged in a master plan that, and a long-term plan that if the people knew about, may have affected it. But I think the obligation to be forthcoming speaks to the third piece, which is trust, because it says, according to the article, that you were not honest about that being your primary residence. You wrote that it was, and maybe it is, and if that's the case, then fine. But if it's not, and I've been hearing back and forth about it is or it isn't. If it's not, then it's about trustworthiness and integrity, and the bottom line is character matters. That's been one of the issues that I brought up time and again, because I don't have any animus towards you. I think you have done a lot of good work. There are also things that I disagree with, but trust is something that is not to be taken for granted. And that really is what this is about. I think that people have had their trust on some level violated.
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Hello, I'm Lori Gerald, Dr. Lori Gerald. I live at 15 Wallace Street here in Tuckahoe. I've been here 12 years. I am very happy to be here in support of an awesome, awesome mayor that we've had and continue to have. I find it interesting that Scooter Scott got up here and talked about trust and all of this, whatever, when we just had a person correct the article that was written with facts. He talks about trust when he can't even be truthful about where he grew up. He said he grew up in Princeton, New Jersey, and I happen to have family. I'm from Mercer County, New Jersey. I have family in that area that's been indigenous in that area, at least a century. And when I found out that there was someone in this community who lived from Princeton, I actually got excited. So I called family members to find out, oh, do you know this Scooter Scott? He's from Princeton. What are the odds that he would be here in Tuckahoe? That is so cool. Scooter Scott. Everyone's looking up. There's no Scooter Scott. So I confronted Scooter Scott about that. Come to find out, he didn't grow up in Princeton. He tells me he grew up because I said, no one knew you. It's a small community, much like Tuckahoe, where everyone knows each other. And so, to come to find out, he says to me, he grew up in Toms River, which Toms River, he started out in Princeton, grew up in the rest of the way after maybe first grade or whatever, he says. He grew up in Toms River, which is nowhere near Princeton. My point in saying that is that when you go to talk about trust and people being transparent, you have to start with yourself. And I'm so happy that our community saw through nonsense and selected someone who absolutely is transparent. And I don't believe that you have to tell anybody what you do with your personal finances and in your life for your future. You don't have to do that. You are here to serve a job for this community, and you are doing that. And I say, go, girl, as you make your mark on life, that you acquire the community, the homes and the property that you think will benefit your life the way that it should and your family. Much like many of our residents here who own homes in Long Island, and they go visit in Long Island, you know. So good for you. I'm really proud of you. Maybe some people aren't used to that. Maybe some people just maybe a little bit jealous that you get to do that. You go, girl. Very good.
Thank you. And then you. After that. And I'd like to ask if we could wrap this up soon. It's almost 9.
Good evening, Mayor and
I'd like to give people on Zoom an opportunity. Yes.
Trustee Gassion, Lang, Engelbert, and Deputy Mayor Cronin. I'm Darrell Taylor, former village trustee, 35 Jefferson Place, Tuckahoe, New York. I wrote it down. I'll be fast. Judging by the size of the audience tonight, this whole big deal about the mayor buying the house, I mean, it seems to be a really big deal. Anyone who knows Mayor Andino, who lives at 14 Westview, I'm sure her neighbors that have known her for the many years she's been there, see her going to work in the morning and coming back home in the evening. She lives in the village of Tuckahoe. In my opinion, since so many others seem to have them, this is nothing more than another opportunity for people who seem to have a disdain and a hatred for this mayor. An opportunity to attack her character. And where I'm from, we have a term for it. It simply says, haters are going to hate. Mayor Andino was elected to be the mayor of the village of Tuckahoe and govern accordingly. There are so many people here tonight with all this concern about her buying a house. There is a monthly meeting at the village of Tuckahoe. Every month there's a meeting. So many of these people, I haven't seen you at one of them,
Please address the board.
but you're here tonight. Mayor Andino and this board of trustees are doing the job that they were elected to do. Excuse me. If the people, so many people that are here tonight, that has all these concerns, really care about the village of Tuckahoe, you can show up to the meetings monthly, and you will actually see not just the mayor, but this board governing. I have 4 pages of governing accomplishments since Mayor Andino was a trustee
Darrell.
and elected for the
3 minutes.
for the village. So anyone who really cares about the village, who have so many concerns, I will be standing right outside and have copies for you.
Thank you. Yes. Peggy? Sal, do you have your hand up? After her? Oh, wait, no. I'm sorry. He was first.
Hi, Peter Vishy, 28 Maynard Street. I was here at last month's meeting, and
Can I ask that you all please not speak in the meeting room?
said, that was hard work that went into them and everything. I would like to volunteer my time and give him a hand in getting the hometown hero banners up again. And you said that it was for political play, and it wasn't. My father has a banner. We have a banner for my father, and all I want to do is see that up on a pole in Tuckahoe. Now, Engelbert said something tonight, campaigning for Darrell, that she was stepping down. I didn't hear anything, said to her.
I'm not stepping down.
I'm sorry.
Well, you're gonna, yes, and then you're not running for re-election.
What do you
but
mean?
you did say Darrell.
I did.
Yeah. Isn't that political? No.
I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Well, she's campaigning.
Okay. All right, thank you. Yeah, yes, we have Peggy. You can give that to.
Actually, I'm going to follow up with you. I appreciate that. And I, as much as anyone, want the banners to go up. So it's been a lot of work between here and Eastchester with the foundation. So they're ordered. But yeah, we'll be in touch for sure.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Peggy. And then Sal. And then after that, I'd like to go to Zoom, if there's anyone on Zoom.
Hi, Peggy Gaudette. I live in the Gentry. So the first thing I want to say is congratulations to you, Mayor Andino. I hope that your new home, whenever you choose to move there, brings you everything that you want. And then the second thing that I wanted to say is just thank you to all of you that choose to serve our village, whether it's in capacity of mayor or trustee or on the fire commission or any of the other.
Can I ask you guys in the back to please take it out if you'd like to talk? It's pretty disrespectful that I have to keep asking for the audience to be quiet.
So just thank you for all of you that choose to serve and choose to open yourself up for this type of behavior where it's just ugly.
Thank you. Sal, and then Chris, and then if there's anyone on Zoom, David, cue them up. Yes, that's fine.
Elaine Provenzano, 11 River Street, Tuckahoe, New York.
Sal Provenzano, 11 River Street, Tuckahoe, New York.
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
Long time, 44 years, yes. I just want to thank you, Mayor, for all that you've done, accomplished in your time here, and we're just so grateful. As a librarian, I've had the opportunity of working with you, and that has been a joy for me as well. But as working on the Tuckahoe History Committee and the Friends of the Ward House and what you've done to preserve history in this village, and many before you have set that up with the master plan and making sure that we recognize all of the places in this village. And tonight you recognized the third landmark, the General So Pope Foundation, and we're so grateful to the whole board and for everybody in the village for recognizing the Ward House and for saying yes. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And I just want to echo, this just was not tonight. This vote was a very courageous vote tonight, and we appreciate it. And the fact that it was 5-0 just warms my heart. But this thing really started way back in 2021, when the law was first looked upon and the moratorium was put in place, and the law then was passed. And then we had a deal, then we dealt with the Ward House being the first landmark, and all of the bumps along the way of these 3 years. And I have to say that the mayor and the board, in a bipartisan way, has backed the law. And to me, that is the best thing that this can be said, is that, to me, is that the Historic Preservation Commission did the heavy lifting, where they actually bent over backwards to make sure that everyone was treated fairly in this process. And they worked months on this. And they put a proposal in front of you that you were able to look at and you were able to weigh against the law. That is the power of Tuckahoe. The power of Tuckahoe is that we are a village of laws, and tonight is even though there was a lot of, I almost feel like a kid whose birthday party was rained on with all this other stuff that went up. But I have to tell you that my wife cried, and I welled up myself, that you did the historic thing 5-0 to do the right thing. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Wow, perfect timing. Yes, as Chris, he comes forward, I also want to, and I'm not sure that people sometimes know, one of the articles quoted my salary, erroneously so, but that's okay, nobody's counting. They also got the place that I work at wrong. I don't work for the Institutes of Applied Human Development. I work for the Institutes of Applied Human Dynamics, and I'm the Chief Executive Officer since 2019 there. I make significantly more there than I do here. I make $7,200 as mayor in Tuckahoe. So I think it's important for people to understand that a weak mayor model, there's a strong mayor model that where, like in New Rochelle or Mount Vernon, where the mayor is the full-time mayor, and that's all that they do. In Tuckahoe, it's not your full-time job necessarily, and it certainly isn't for me, and I've made it basically a full-time job. But we do have, and I think Mayor Eklund and I had a good conversation, and he said the best thing that he ever could have done was to hire a village administrator who runs the day-to-day operations of the village. So it's important for people to understand that the mayor doesn't run the day-to-day operations of a village. The village administrator does, and thank God he does, because I couldn't pull that off, as Mayor Eklund and I laughed about. He said, I demanded that the board hire a village administrator because he understood the ramifications when you don't have one. You don't have a fund balance that will be able to sustain you. Because of a village administrator, we have that. You don't have processes in place that you need in a municipality because there's a learning curve. I'm still learning this role as mayor. This is not something that you just come into and know how to do, and I know that Mayor Luisi, who's here, can attest to that. So it's important for you to understand in that context why that's important to know. Chris.
Chris DiGiorgio, 50 Columbus. I'm here on two behalfs. One is the Tuckahoe Pride event. I just wanted to highlight and thank Alkin Industries.
Alcon.
They've generously are sponsoring Meaningful Spiritual Conversations, and other groups who have put forth. So we are always looking for funding. So we are now a corporation. We will be a 501c3 by the end of the year, and we're going to do more cultural events, just not the June Pride event. We're thinking of a coming out day event as well. So we're going to keep the momentum with our group. We have amazing acts. We have Brian Faldudo, who was the gay little boy in School of Rock. He's going to perform. He's an aspiring country artist. And we have James Young, who was a former resident of Tuckahoe. He's a pop artist as well. He's going to perform. We're going to have the jazz duo from Concordia. So we're going to have a lot of wonderful musical acts. Those are just some that are off the top of my head. I'm just going to say this, Mayor, and I'll keep it short and sweet. Republicans throw the dirt, the Democrats do the work. And I'm going to just say the work that you have done here, and I don't want to disparage the Republicans, they've done work, and I'm not going to say they haven't done any work, but since 2018, since you've been running, I've had, and sometimes had to come here and say to people that you're way out of bounds by some of the dirt that was being thrown, and that's what disturbs me more. You know, when I was in 2001, when I moved here right after 9/11, and I got involved immediately into the campaign of P.J. Denning, and then I decided to run a year later, and when they found out I was gay, there was a big issue there, and you know, and now we have a Pride event, and my dream in all the years of serving Tuckahoe, and yes, I didn't sit out there, but I kept everybody honest when I came up here. And my dream was that we had democracy in Tuckahoe. And when I said that in 2003, and I'll remind everybody, I said that I'm bringing democracy back to Tuckahoe. And why did I say that? Because those previous years, there was no Democrats running in Tuckahoe. And it took a while. It took a lot of people. And, you know, when I asked Mayor Andino to run, and I'm done, you know, it was a great pleasure to have her run and to have the many people up here that are so wonderfully educated, so wonderfully as public servants. It does my heart good. And I just want us to raise the bar so that we have outstanding candidates. And I demand that the Republicans have the outstanding candidates as well so that we can have a very effective village.
Okay, thank you. Is there, yes, one last, and then may I ask for the Zoom people? Do we have anybody on Zoom that wants to speak? Two people, okay, so after this young lady.
Good evening, my name is...
Good evening. Speak into the mic and state your name and address.
My name is Marie Manfredi.
Yes.
This is the first time I'm here, but I just want to thank you, Mayor, for helping me. I just went in her office and she took care of stuff that week for me. There was an issue. But I just want to say with this Republican, Democrat, it should be people helping people. I went to her as a person, not as a Democrat or a Republican or a liberal or anything like that. I think everybody should just get together and just stop this political. I like what you said about the empathy for people. Get together and just help one another. It has nothing to do with a red state, a blue state, or whatever the freak religion is. It's just wiping everybody out. The hatred is coming out of people because of all these political talk, and just be you. Just be
Thank you. Thank you.
That's all I'm gonna say.
That's a nice.
Lovely here, Tuckahoe. I have a lovely place to live, and I'm looking to stick around. I hope you
Thank you. Whoever's on Zoom may speak now. We have 2 more.
I'm Suzanne Servan, and if nothing else, I'm persistent because I'm waiting for 1 hour to get to talk to you.
Sorry.
I also wrote to the journalist, and I told him that I thought he was ill-advised, and he walked into a political minefield. And for heaven's sakes, it's a completely unimportant house, schmouse. What she does is important. And just a little example, I drive around in Tuckahoe and Eastchester, and not me, my car knows when we leave Tuckahoe because of the potholes and the terrible. Come back to to Tuckahoe, I have wonderful asphalt roads. So this is what's important. Forget about the house. Thank you.
Thank you. Who's the other person?
Hi, hopefully you can hear me.
We can.
We're wondering, what is the latest on flood mitigation planning in Tuckahoe? I see that Mamaroneck has received, a good amount of money from the government on flood mitigation, and we're just wondering what's the latest there for, Tuckahoe?
You want to speak to that, David? Some of the work that we've already done.
It's a little difficult to say flood mitigation because there's a lot of different areas. I'm guessing or assuming you're talking about the Bronx River. We are still waiting on the state-funded plan for that. The DEC has come in. They're going to do a plan of the whole Bronx River as a comprehensive plan of saying what projects can be done, not just here, but from White Plains and Greenburgh and everywhere else that can kind of assist on that corridor. So we're still waiting on that plan. Once that plan is in place, we think that's going to unlock the door for either state or federal funding. But until something like that is completed and kind of laid out, we can't do much about that. We have done, several different things in regards to other areas of the village, from adding catch basins and drainage areas and trying to kind of figure out localized flooding and, in doing upgrades to our sewer system and things like that. But in regards to the Bronx River, we're kind of waiting on that plan right now.
Thank you. Did someone else have a hand up? Final? Yes, Anthony Laurie. I'm sorry, Fiore. Sorry. The other Anthony. Fiore.
Anthony Fiore.
Fiore.
Great business place. Nothing to do with you or anything else. Just a little firematic
Thank
stuff.
you for a change.
Summertime is here. Everybody's going to barbecue and everything. Just ask everyone, just keep it away from the house. We'll probably bring this up at the commissioners meeting next month. They'll bring it up. Enjoy. Just enjoy your summertime. There is commissioners meeting next month, next week, on the 13th. Watch it. If you can't come, watch it on TV. It's in Eastchester, 7 p.m. Nice crowd here. Come over there. Come to Eastchester. Because hopefully December I'll be.
That's great.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. Okay, Tuckahoe. I do appreciate all of the okay, Nick.
Sorry, I waited everybody out. First of all, congratulations to your home. I know you mentioned an ill parent, so I'll keep her in our prayers. I remember a time where the other side encouraged economic prosperity, and it's a shame that this article has done what it's done to the community. I always hoped that the media would show up during campaign season when we would have these vitriol from the other side towards many of you on this board during those campaigns, and we never got that attention. So the fact that we got this attention, I'm glad everybody has come out in support and to show a lot of the successes that the mayor and the board has done over the last few years. Everybody has spoken on it. I don't need to repeat it. But I want to thank you and the board for all the work that you have done. That's what's most important. You know, you don't make a lot of money to be on this board, and this is like community service. So the community thanks you, and I'm glad that you saw that support here today. And hopefully the media can correct a lot of those mistakes that seem to have been ran wild in those articles. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. So I'm just going to close out with a couple of things. I want to echo Marie Manfredi's statements that it really shouldn't be about Republican and Democrat. I have appointed Republicans and Democrats alike to boards, people who have Heather Rinaldi is one that is serving very well on one of our committees. And excuse me, please don't speak out. Please don't speak out. Please do not speak out. So we have, what I'm saying is that I have appointed people from all political affiliations who are doing an excellent job. That does not matter to me. Even when people have said, "Do you sure you want to do that?" Yes, that's the right thing to do. And I have done the right thing because it's to benefit Tuckahoe, not to benefit myself. I have done nothing in Tuckahoe that benefits me. What I have done, the work that I have done in Tuckahoe, I've done to benefit you. And I have not used my position in any way, shape, or form to benefit myself. I've used my position to benefit the village and the residents in the village. So having said that, I will close out the meeting. May I have a sorry, Deputy Mayor wants to say one more thing.
Sorry about that. I might take more than 3 minutes. Just to clear up some comments made about about the comprehensive plan. The comprehensive plan, just to explain a little bit about how it was came to be. You know, the chair of the committee, the former deputy mayor, she made a point of making sure that there were people who were, again, diverse by neighborhood, by job type, by philosophical standing, ethnically, culturally. She really put a lot of thought into that, and I'm very thankful that she really took the time to kind of vet people. A lot of people applied. We had well over 30 applications. She only picked, I believe, 7 people. So I really want to applaud that, and I want to set the record straight. The Comprehensive Plan Committee has only met to choose the firm that will be doing the comprehensive plan. The process has not started. As Shannon mentioned, it is going to be a very public process. We're going to ask for a lot of input, and this is a good time for people who wanted to be on the committee, and a lot of people wanted to be on the committee who were not chosen. If you wanted to be on the committee, you should come out, you should participate, you should, again, let your voice be heard. We want people of all ideals, all sways, to come and tell us, people who've been here a long time, people who have just moved here, what is important to you, what do you need from your community. This is your opportunity. And to Ms. Rinaldi's point, yes, we only get to do this every 10 years, but there will be an opportunity for everybody who wants input to give that input. And so I'm glad that so many people are interested. Please come out. Please be engaged. Please fill out the surveys when they come. There will be. I expect, because people are so passionate about this, that participation will be high, and that there will be a real sense that this is a plan that serves everybody here. I also want to echo Ms. Manfredi's comments. I think they were so beautifully put. I won't repeat them, but they were beautiful. Thank you. We've had incredible people here that have served our community. Mayors like Greg Luisi and others who have done so much for this community, Republican, Democrat. I agree, the division is too much. And so I just would like to thank you for saying that, and Mr. Laurie too. George Washington, here I go, was a great leader of this country. He was a great leader because he was a great war hero, and he was a great general, he was a great president. But the number one thing that man did to serve this country is knowing that he had to step away. He made a plan to step away, and that is the sign of a great leader. He could have been a Caesar. He could have had unbelievable power that lasted forever, but he chose to step away. And that is the sign of good leadership. The other sign of good leadership is somebody who comes to the table and gets other people to do the work with them. This mayor's work is exponential. And I say it's exponential because if you stand next to her, she will put you to work. She will put you to work, and it doesn't matter who you are or where you come from or which neighborhood you're in or who your parents were or what political party. She will put you to work. And I am grateful. I am also tired, but I am grateful for all the work that she has us engage in. And I just want to say that everything that happens here and that has happened here on this board, most of us, is we're here because she inspired us. And for me, I hope that I speak for some of the others, like I am eternally grateful. And I know that she is here doing the work because I am standing next to her 95% of the time. Nobody can speak to that as much as I can. And so thank you to all of you who showed up to speak your piece, even if you believe that, you know, something duplicitous happened. I guarantee you that this mayor has won 4 elections and there has been nothing duplicitous. And I really, I will not entertain an election denier. She won this mayorhood fair and square, and we are all better off for it. Thank you.
Okay. May I have a motion to close the meeting?
So moved.
All in favor? Thank you. Have a good night, Tuckahoe.